The machine stuttered. A flash of static, then silence. And when the light cleared, you were no longer inside its chamber. You were kneeling in a shoal of lukewarm water, your gloved hands sinking into silt that clung like wet ash. The machine had failed again. It had spat you out into an era not meant for you. The first breath told you everything. Air, thick and strange, forced its way into your helmet vents. It was not the familiar stream of oxygen you expected, but something heavier, coarse, biting the soft tissues of your throat. With each inhale, the inner lining of your lungs burned, as though every molecule of this new atmosphere carried splinters. Instinct forced you to cough, but the cough only rasped dry against the suit's respirator. Ahead stretched the borderland between sea and land. Shallow waves rose and fell with sluggish rhythm, retreating into brackish pools that steamed under a pale sun. Each retreat left behind stranded things. Armored fish, their plated backs clattering faintly as they twitched. Trilobites, small and many, scuttling in frantic patterns before burying themselves into mud. Worms knotting over each other in desperate tangles. The tide line was a cemetery of motion. You tried to rise, but the weight of gravity pressed down like a new predator. The ocean had always carried you. Here, the air carried nothing. Each movement dragged at your muscles until even the act of standing became a negotiation. Your boots lifted with a wet sucking noise, breaking the skin of the mud, releasing a smell of rot and brine. You listened. The world was not silent. From the shallows came the steady crack of jaws. Lungfish rising, gulping, sinking again. Their noises were wet, decisive, reminding you that they could breathe what you were failing to master. Farther inland came another sound, the sharp ticking of jointed legs against stone. Shadows shifted across rocks where early scorpions crept, their claws raised, their bodies shining like oil in the sun. But none of these movements frightened you as much as the stillness inside your own chest. Your breaths were already ragged. You drew in one, forced it deep, then another, each more painful than the last. The atmosphere stripped moisture from you with each cycle. The tissues inside your lungs began to feel brittle, like paper about to tear. You realized with cold precision, here survival depended not on fighting, not on running, but on keeping yourself wet. Your gaze turned back to the water. The tide pulled forward, then retreated, the foam curling around your boots in rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. You felt it then, like a secret whispered directly into your bones. The wave was a clock, and only by obeying its beat could you last longer than a moment. The Devonian shore was a threshold, and you were caught at the edge of two worlds. The sea tried to call you back. The air tried to claim you. Your lungs were already failing. Somewhere between these two hungers, you had to learn the rules. The shore does not welcome you. It does not push you away either. It is indifferent, and that indifference is its cruelty. The tide keeps its rhythm. Forward, retreat, forward, retreat. You kneel at its edge and realize this is not scenery. It is the only teacher you have. Survival here is not strength or will. It is obedience. The Devonian offers no second chances. You listen and the rules begin to form. Rule 1. Never let your lungs dry. The tissues inside you are not built for this air. Each breath pulls water from them, leaving cracks that deepen with every moment. To resist, you must kneel into the surf and draw dampness into your suit's intake. Let the mist of the waves rehydrate the membranes before they collapse. Break this rhythm once, even for minutes, and you will feel the burn. Not sharp, but hollow, a slow collapse as your chest stiffens until breath itself becomes impossible. Rule 2. Match the rhythm of the wave. The surf gives you a clock, steady and indifferent. You must align with it. When the water reaches your boots, inhale. When it pulls back, exhale. It is the only pattern strong enough to pace you. Miss the rhythm, and your body falls out of step. The lungs seize, the pulse stumbles, panic takes hold. In panic, you will gasp, and in gasping, you dry. There is no recovery from this spiral. Rule 3. Stay low to the ground. Gravity here is an ambush you cannot fight. Stand too long and your muscles tremble, demanding more oxygen, drawing deeper, harsher breaths. The higher you climb, the faster the air devours you. Keep low, crawl if you must. If pride lifts you upright, your own weight will betray you. Knees will buckle, your visor will strike stone, and in the gasp that follows, the rhythm will break. Rule 4. Do not wander inland. The scorpions own the stone flats. Their claws are not your concern. It is their patience. They need little, and so they wait. You, burning energy with every movement, will not outlast them. Inland also means distance from the tide, distance from the water's rhythm. You may think the plants can offer refuge, but they do not give shade, and they do not give moisture. If you go too far, you will dry into silence, unseen and irrelevant. Rule 5. Never trust still pools. The shallow waters shimmer invitingly, but they are traps of stagnation. In them lie armored fish, their gills beating in desperate futility. The water will not refresh your lungs. It will clog your filters with decay. Place your trust only in the tide, the moving surf. Stillness here is death disguised as calm. The instructions repeat themselves, circling in your head with every pulse of foam against your boots. They are not optional. They are contracts written in salt and breath. Each one feels like a thread, fragile, thin, and yet together they are the only net between you and collapse. The Devonian has no mercy. It only has rules. The mud at the tidal edge is neither sea nor land. It clutches your boots with each step, reluctant to release them, as though urging you to stay, to sink, to join the half-buried trilobites and stranded fish. When you wrench yourself free, the sound is obscene. A slow tearing, like flesh separating from bone. Beneath the surface, things writhe unseen. Worms long as your forearm, their bodies pale and blind, twisting up through the silt in brief spasms before vanishing again. The air is thick with unfamiliar weight. It tastes wrong inside your helmet, sour and metallic, as though rust has become vapor. The humidity is heavy enough to cling to your visor, yet still the dryness within your chest deepens, spreading like cracks through stone. Every breath feels less certain than the last. Around you, life pushes forward with stubborn momentum. Armored fish thrash in shrinking pools, gills beating frantically, plates scraping against one another. They seem caught between two instructions, to remain submerged or to risk the shallows for air. Some succeed, their mouths breach, drawing in oxygen in great gulps, while others flounder, silent and doomed, left to bake in the heat until their bodies stiffen and the tide reclaims them. Beyond the pools stretch low plains of stone and sand, dotted with mats of green algae that glisten like slick paint. The algae stinks, a rot that fills the space between breaths. Across it crawl early plants, no taller than your hand, their stems thin, their leaves little more than threads. They do not sway like modern grass or trees. They stand rigid, brittle, feeding only on the dampness that clings to rock. You realize quickly, there is no shelter here, no shade, no softness. The land has not yet learned to make refuge. From time to time, the silence fractures. A lungfish leaps in the distance, its body arcing, landing with a smack that reverberates across the shallows. Farther inland, the ticks and scrapes of scorpions multiply. Their armored legs scratch against the stone in patient rhythms, never hurried, never frantic, as though they own this place. They do. Your body does not. Every movement is resistance. Gravity insists on your submission. Air insists on your dehydration. The suit shields you from touch but not from exhaustion, not from the brittle erosion happening inside. Sweat builds beneath your layers, only to be wicked away, leaving your skin clammy, your pulse pounding. You crouch at the edge of the tide. Foam gathers at your boots, then draws back, then returns, in a rhythm steady enough to measure thought. The waves do not rage here. They pulse, as though breathing. Each cycle leaves salt across your visor. Each retreat tempts you farther onto land. But with each inhale, the truth hardens. You cannot survive away from the water. This world is not hostile because it wants you dead. It is hostile because it does not care if you live. Every organism around you has carved its own fragile compromise, its own adaptation. Yours has yet to be written, and in the drumbeat of the tide, you begin to hear what may pass for instruction. You keep the rhythm for as long as you can. Wave forward, inhale. Wave retreat, exhale. The pattern steadies you, makes you believe survival is possible if only you obey. But obedience is fragile. The tide begins to falter. The water draws back farther, exposing more of the shore. Pools shrink, leaving fish stranded in clusters of armored bodies that slap against one another with hollow, metallic sounds. The surf returns weaker, too thin to mist your filters. The air grows hotter, and inside your chest the dryness spreads. You lean forward, pressing your helmet closer to the foam, desperate for each inhalation to moisten what is already cracking. It helps, but not enough. The rhythm fractures. The clock you trusted skips beats. You try to adjust, but adjustment means error. You inhale too early, before the wave has reached you. The breath is raw, air stripped of dampness, and it tears at your lungs like sandpaper. You choke, cough, struggle to fall back into the pattern, but coughing itself is a betrayal. It breaks the rhythm further. Your chest convulses, and with each convulsion, more moisture is lost. Your arms give way. You fall into the mud, visor striking against wet silt. The sound is muffled, distant, like something breaking underwater. You stay there, low as the rules demanded, but the posture now is not survival, it is collapse. Above you, the world does not pause. Scorpions continue their ticking march inland, their claws scraping over stone with calm inevitability. A lungfish breaches, its gulping sound almost mocking, before sinking back into its pool. Even the trilobites carry on, burying deeper, indifferent to your struggle. You try to focus again on the surf. Forward, retreat, forward, retreat. But the sound is distant now, obscured by the rushing inside your head. A thunder of blood moving too fast. You inhale when you should exhale, exhale when you should hold. The synchronization dissolves. You are no longer aligned with the tide. You are fighting it, clashing with it, tearing your rhythm apart. Gravity presses harder. Your limbs feel twice their weight, as though the world itself has decided to pin you down. Sweat pools inside the suit, slick against your skin, but even this cannot save your lungs. The moisture on your body is sealed away from where it is needed most. You attempt to crawl closer to the advancing foam, but your arms tremble uncontrollably. The mud beneath your gloves offers no stability, sliding away in streaks of algae. Each movement is smaller than the last, each breath shallower. The wave reaches you again, washing coolness over your boots, but you are too slow to time it. You inhale late, catching only the tail of its mist. The dryness swallows the relief before it can matter. Your chest locks. The rules still echo in your mind, each one a thread you once held. But now the threads slip, unraveling, falling away. You are no longer obeying. You are no longer capable of obedience. The Devonian is patient. It does not rush to end you. It only waits for you to stop keeping pace. The tide advances one last time, but you are no longer ready for it. The foam curls around your boots, climbs higher, presses against your knees. Yet the rhythm that once guided you is gone. You hear the water, but you cannot follow it. Your lungs rasp on their own, irregular, frantic, tearing the fragile fabric of your chest with every failed attempt at order. The world narrows. Vision fogs inside your visor, a sheen of salt and condensation blurring the boundary between water and sky. Shapes flicker. The armored outlines of fish twitching in the shallows, the slow march of scorpions over stone, the ripple of trilobites digging deeper into mud. Each one is certain in its place while you, the intruder, dissolve. Your breath catches. It is not pain now, but absence. The sensation of air moving through you has become faint, like wind slipping through a cracked shell. You open your mouth inside the helmet, instinct demanding more, but more does not come. The dryness has won. The tissues inside you feel brittle, unable to stretch, unable to draw. You are collapsing inward, hollowing. You remember the rules as if they are still within reach. Never let your lungs dry. Match the rhythm of the wave. Stay low. Do not wander inland. Trust only the tide. They circle in your mind like echoes of a language you once knew, but their meaning is gone. Instructions without execution are only noise. Your body convulses once, twice, each spasm pulling less air than the one before. The foam hisses faintly against your suit, mocking with its moisture. You imagine pressing your lungs directly into it, drowning them in liquid relief, but you cannot. The filters, the seals, the armor, all that once protected you now denies you. You are sealed away from the only salvation left. The tide does not notice your stillness. It withdraws, leaving you heavier than before, then returns, covering your legs again, repeating. You are outside of its rhythm now, outside of its clock. Where once you tried to obey, now you are excluded. The sounds of the Devonian continue without pause. A lungfish breaks the surface with a wet slap, gulping air you cannot use. The scorpions tick closer, claws raised, uninterested in you but inevitable in their progress. The trilobites vanish entirely, buried in safety. Your final breaths are shallow flickers, not enough to sustain, not enough to resist. The last exhale is long, thin, almost soundless, a sigh that does not return. Inside the helmet, your chest stills. The tide advances once more, brushing against your motionless form, washing salt across your visor, reclaiming you without intention, without ceremony. You are left at the border where water meets air, a husk caught between two worlds. The Devonian continues, unmoved. The surf breathes without you. The rhythm carries on.